be to elect a select board chair. Nominations are open.
I nominate the boss, Dot Maggio.
Don Maggio has been nominated. Any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll close nominations. All those in favor of electing Don Maggio as the chairman of the Brookline Select Board for the year 2022-23 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It appears the ayes have it. Dot, I turn the board over to you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Tanza, it's my pleasure.
I apologize for my lack of professionalism.
It's my pleasure to serve the board for another year. It really is.
You've done a good job.
All right, at this point, we will go into reviewing changes to the agenda, if any. I would like to add three items to the agenda. I would like to add appointing listers for under item 6, the end of item 6, the reorganization. I would like to add appoint DV fiber representative for Brookline. And I would like to add review and approve the resolution from People's United Bank for the check signing with the new treasurer and second check signer, which we have the resolution in the file to cover that.
One other item, do we need to nominate or appoint someone for Green Up Day?
That's May 1st, I think May 2nd.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any other
Okay,
changes yet.
I will-
It's May 7th.
We may not, we
May
can
7th.
add discussing that also, we may not actually do an appointment for any of this, but add for Green Up Day. Right. And any appointments that are not made tonight will be brought to the agenda for the next meeting, so that March 16th, we hope to complete any appointments. We'll have some time to reach out to people that we nominate for these appointments. Many have said that they.
Does anyone need an agenda, Mark?
I do.
I would like one too.
Okay, I'll print a couple.
Thank you.
All right, so changes again, appointing the listers, DV fiber, People's United Bank paperwork, Green Up Day. Anything else at this time?
Are we doing anything with the lease with,
Yeah, we're signing it.
okay,
Yeah,
that's here
That's
somewhere.
on here. Yep.
Okay,
That's down in old business.
Oh.
Okay. All right, if not, I shall move on to recognizing members of the public. I guess there is none this evening. It's Peter Barris. How are you, sir? Nice to see you.
Good evening. There is unusual trouble with the sound. People need to speak one at a time if possible. And it's a little odd. We're really on a phone call now. I can't see anybody. So
Oh.
identifying speakers is essential.
All right, I will, when Guy gets back in here, I will have him check the camera picture.
Thank you.
So we'll wait one moment. In the meanwhile, I will be asking people to review the meeting from February 16th when Mr. Tanza comes back out. Present in the room at this time, Peter, for your reference, is myself, Dot Maggio, Bruce Mello, Stan Noga, Gwen Tanza, Guy Tanza, and E. Mark Bills.
No, David.
No, David. David did not choose to run. So we're down to a select board of
Yes, I
four.
recall that. Thanks. Do you want to try with it, move along with the minutes and see how it goes?
There's no picture, so we've asked you to check the camera. All right.
And he's having difficulty, he seems to be on a telephone call, it says.
No, it's just a little more garbled than usual. I don't know why.
Oh,
All right, let's take a look at the minutes from Wednesday, February 16th. Does anyone have anything to change on page 1? Stan Noga.
yes, under open, discuss and vote on bids received, paragraph number 2, I'm wondering if we could insert about 2/3 of the way in that first sentence of that paragraph. And
Give me a word.
place the word insurance in front of certificate.
Read the whole sentence then.
Ms. Maggio asked the board pleasure. There was discussion that a certificate was required. I'm wondering if I suggest we insert insurance certificate, since I don't believe that's stated anywhere else
Okay.
at this point.
Okay, very good.
Peter, can you hear?
He can hear us, it's just that it was a little,
I've got
I
everything
got it.
done.
It is a little unclear, so I'm hoping people will speak slowly and one at a time.
but the camera is not working.
No,
Any other changes? Stan?
Same paragraph, the very last 6 words. And that sentence reads, current certificate was found and would expire on June 2022. And I suggest we put a period in there because it says before the starting date for the contract, and we don't know what the starting date of the contract is going to be. We know that the contract will be awarded, but he's not indicated a start date. It's left open. The only thing provided in the contract is, or when it is executed, is that he finish it by August 30th of 2022.
So I'll strike that last part.
I would suggest that.
Okay. Good. Any other changes on page 1? Stan?
The next paragraph, where it says, Mr. Jones noted that. In line 3, it says, in light of previous issues with the BMH, Mr. Noga suggested specificity, not because of any problem with the. And I believe what we were talking about there being issues with was actually the round schoolhouse and not the Brookline meeting house. So if you delete BMH and put in either RSH or round schoolhouse, whichever you prefer.
I have that too.
Okay.
Stan?
Well, if somebody else wants it. shot here.
No, go ahead, finish yours, because I can follow your page.
All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The I want to say paragraph, 8th paragraph that start Miss
Say a
Parker.
word. Just give me a word. I can search it.
The word is paid.
Paid,
Yeah,
PAID,
PAID.
2 years ago for the same work.
Yeah, it was not paid, it was a bid that was submitted,
Estimate was
or
received,
an estimate, okay.
had been estimated 2 years ago.
Yeah, but this
Done.
note, 8475, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was estimated 2 years ago to be 8745.
Okay.
Thank you. I think that's that even.
Oh, I can see you.
Great.
Hey, dear.
I'm not, the next one is again, BMH. It's the 4th paragraph from the bottom of page 1.
Ms. Maggio suggested.
Yes, Ms. Maggio suggested that the paperwork should be completed by the, and it says BMH committee meeting, and I'm wondering if it shouldn't be the select board reorganizational meeting, because the date that's at the end of that sentence is March 2nd, and there is no BMH committee meeting on March 2nd.
Actually, Stan, I suggested that I go back to the Brookline Meeting House Committee and review with the people who helped design, review with the committee members, the paper. I went, the indication here was that we would go back to the Brookline Meeting House Committee and identify the weaknesses in the bid that was received. Not the price wasn't the problem, but it was some of the lack of verbiage, so, and we would be re-reviewed on March 2nd.
I want to say that concisely for him.
Yeah, all right. Ms. Maggio suggested that the bid paperwork should be reviewed by the Brookline Meeting House Committee. Follow up on March 2nd select board meeting, which is tonight. Period.
Reviewed by the BMH committee meeting.
And the follow-up would be with the select board on March 2nd.
Oh, so for the March 2nd meeting.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Page 1?
Patient, oh, there it is, so cooperative, I love that. Glasses. Under Brookline Meeting House steeple, very beginning.
Speak up.
Under the Brookline Meeting House steeple at the beginning, Peter, you go down about 3 sentences and it
Give me a word.
says,
Read the sentence.
okay, I will, when I find it.
That's the word, is the problem, if there is just one word.
Oh, I'm sorry, he's distracting me now. Ms. Maggio,
I'm in there 50 times.
read the estimate for question. What did I have here? Oh, something here has to be recorded. Thank you.
Oh, that narrows it down. We need a different word.
Let me see. I'm sorry. I had an older.
Is this about the specification?
We already went way below that.
I know that, but I hadn't had an opportunity. I saw a spot where it said estimated cost of steeple work. That's not right. It's not, it wasn't an estimate. In the bid.
It says at estimated cost of $9,420. It should, the word estimated
That's what I'm
should be,
looking at.
it should say
That's
the
what-
bid.
Right,
It should say bid.
right.
The bid. The bid
It's not an
estimate.
estimate, it's not an estimate, it's actually, that's it for page 1 for me.
Wait a minute,
Because-
I'm confused. Do you want to change there?
If you want, let's put the word bid estimate because he did write the word estimate on his paperwork.
Okay,
So
Well,
we'll
the
say
sentence starts with you reading the estimate. At estimated cost.
at an estimated cost. It's okay.
that's the problem.
All right,
That's the
read
problem.
the sentence how you want him to
Well,
see it.
He was making a bid for the, for the work. He's estimating that's what it's gonna cost. We don't want him to estimate what it's gonna cost. We want him to say, that's what it's gonna cost to have.
The problem with that, and I will, we're getting ahead of ourselves, when we open up the renewed bid, was that I
Okay.
said to him, this says estimate, and you cannot, you have to, in writing, you're gonna have to, if the cost of this repair approaches your bid max, you cannot go beyond this $9,420 without coming to the select board again, because he says it's an estimate, there may be changes if it has to happen. So he sent it me one, I can't open it yet.
Okay. Whatever, we'll take.
All right,
Have a look
we're
at that
gonna
one.
leave it as is for now, because that's how it
Okay.
was on his paperwork and the word estimate,
Okay,
that
whatever.
bill address. We'll see if he changed it.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm just concerned about it because of the obvious reason. Estimate means, well, I'm gonna charge you 29 cents for that, and then comes the bill, $3.99.
Correct, and I pointed that out, so we'll see
Okay.
if that was addressed.
Okay,
All right, page 2.
some there, do you have any to say in the first one?
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that Ms. Maggio noted that Mr. Clark had offered to take on some of the grant writing work. I think it should say Mr. Noga.
Yeah, I mean, I do go by that name when I'm robbing banks, but otherwise.
Mr. Noga had offered to take on some of the grant writing work.
So under new business, the word you're gonna look for is Clark.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
It is now Noga.
Okay, I got a couple, three.
Any other on page 2?
Got 3 pages. Okay. Because, you know, I'm not gonna do this for next time, I promise. Okay.
We're on page 2.
Yeah. Building commission update, first, that was on page 2, isn't it? Page 2, last line. For this page 3. I'm sorry. Page 2. No, never mind. It's not on that page.
Okay, Stan?
yes, page 2,
Yeah, I do.
the words I'm questioning is until December 31st of 2022. And I'm just confirming that that is the accurate date. For some reason, I know we were talking about September 16th. But then another document was found and I didn't know if that maturity date or end date was December 31st.
That date on one of the forms was December 31st, 2022, and that date stopped all of the discussion.
Okay.
Did you find what you're looking for?
Well, no, but I guess I did, but it's a different page. I'll start, let's see, we're gonna look under Mr. Joe's, Peter, it's way down at the bottom of page 2, the second to last line should be Mr. Jones.
Joes.
Yeah,
JONES.
I got it.
okay. Next is,
Number 2?
Page 2. The word you're looking for is materials, under vendor packet contract for B&H repairs. I wondered if it might achieve clarity if that word was replaced with documents. Ms. Mazzio suggested besides the listing of, it has materials there, I'd say documents requested by the treasurer.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
It makes you wonder, are we talking about documents, or are we talking about materials that are gonna be employed in some kind of construction or something else?
Okay. Anything else on page 2?
sorry, I think it actually meant materials listed. Contract should have more detailed specifications. The treasurer isn't requesting a listing of documents. They want a materials list, I think.
I think there's two thoughts here. Documents by the treasurer and materials by the select board. The treasurer's gonna need the certificate.
She's gonna need the documents of the certificate of
Certificate of
insurance and the other, the W-2 form or W-9, whatever it's called. and so
Okay.
forth. So
Let's do the listing of materials and documents requested. We'll add both.
Okay, I see that it's saying that the contract should have specifications in addition to documents, or in addition to something requested by the treasurer. The contract should have, the treasurer thinks the contract should have something and more detailed specifications. A listing of documents in the contract?
the process is that there are specific documents required of every contractor who does work for the town. And there's a specific packet, And in that packet, there are several documents. And the treasurer is the record keeper of those documents.
Oh, good,
So-
makes sense.
That
Sorry,
word
yep.
belongs in here somehow, some way. And now if we're gonna combine the issue of work being done and there being materials in that same sentence, I have no problem with that.
No, documents makes perfect sense.
Anything else on page 2? You will move to page 3. Did you have anything
I
else?
don't have anything on three. I have stuff on four.
Anybody else on page 3? Okay, page 4. Bruce, do you have something on page 4?
Next time I'll have one. Okay. Under building commissioner report, Peter. That's a long sentence. Look under BMH, I guess. It's the last sentence of the first paragraph at the end, and that current work on the BMH under the committee was moving well. Has nothing to do with anything in this section. Right here.
Current work on the BMH under the committee was moving well. I think that's what you said.
I was talking about that. That's about one meeting, so I wasn't talking about that.
You're happy with the Brookline Meeting House Committee doing work as a building commissioner, that they were getting work
Oh,
done.
okay, I didn't.
Yeah, you were happy that the Brookline Meeting House
Okay.
Committee was getting their, working on
Okay.
improving the building.
Okay, all right.
You were
Then-
excited, you said.
Okay, well, okay, now I can remember, I apologize. The last sentence of that section, Peter, battery and filter replacement and the Coda service contract, battery's not a part of that. There's nothing battery in anything I was speaking about that I could recollect. So it's just filter replacement and Coda.
Was it the batteries in the thermostat?
The thermostats have, no, your batteries, you talked about.
Am I taking it out of context? Without problems.
It did say batteries.
Okay, battery,
Yeah,
you
at
don't
some
have to
point.
replace the batteries as often because they're hardwired, they're just backup batteries.
Okay. This is kind of, okay. All right. We'll be all right if I keep up.
Page 4, anything else for anyone?
No, thank God.
All right, now everybody, you gotta watch, make sure that I am going to conduct these votes correctly. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from Wednesday, February 16th as amended. May I have a second?
Second?
Seconded by Stan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Wednesday, February 16th meeting minutes as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved as amended. Thank you. All right, and we got another set of minutes. I'd like to review the minutes from the hearing from the Select Board Informational Meeting from Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. Anybody have any items on page 1 that they would like to have modified or amended? None? Any items on page 2? Any items on page 3? Any items on page 4? Any items on page 5? Any items on page 6? I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes from the Wednesday, February 23rd informational meeting as presented. May I have a second? Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the select board informational meeting minutes from February 23rd as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent, very
Sorry,
good,
who
thank you.
seconded?
Peter. Who seconded it?
Bruce.
did.
Bruce.
Thanks.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, minutes are reviewed. We don't have any members of the public yet, no. Okay, reorganization and appointment of town officers. I'd like to accept nominations for the vice chair of the select board. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Bruce.
Nomination for Bruce Mello. Any other nominations for select board vice
I
chair?
nominate Gwen.
Nominate Gwen.
And I decline.
Oh.
Bruce has been doing it very well, so I decline.
So, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of electing Bruce Mello as the vice chair of the select board signify by saying aye.
Right?
No, did I do that right?
Yeah, that's.
Signify
I
by
think
saying
so.
aye. Okay, any opposed? None.
I abstain.
And Bruce, you're abstaining. All right, well, Bruce, 3 votes elect you as your vice chair. Thank you for serving again with me. It's always a pleasure to work with you,
You do it
as
well.
well as everyone else.
Even though I didn't do it too long before.
Okay. All right, so Bruce, you are now our vice chair. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to ask for nominations from the select board for the appointing of our recording clerk for the select board.
I nominate Peter Barris if he's willing to accept it.
Peter, would you be willing to accept the nomination for our town, for our, being our recorder? Clerk,
It will be
recording
my
clerk?
honor and pleasure, yes.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Any
Thank you.
other? None? All those in favor of appointing Peter Barris as the recording clerk for the Brookline Select Board for this year signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Peter, again for joining us, making our life easier.
And doing the work that you've done in the last years, appreciate it.
Yes. All right, I'd like to take a nomination from the select board in the appointment for our road commissioner. Do I have any nominations?
I nominate Archie Clark.
Okay, Stan Noga is nominating Archie Clark. Archie is not here tonight for us to ask him, so he will be placed on a list that we will approach, and then next meeting, we will have him on the agenda if he accepts that nomination to vote. So we will ask Archie Clark. So we're gonna table that appointment at this time for C. All right, item D on the agenda, I'm accepting nominations from the select board for an appointment to the Wyndham Regional Commission. Oh, you know what, in the past, you know, if you wanted to look at anything, I did bring the book, it shows you who did it before. I'd like to nominate Guy Tanza for a representative to the Wyndham Regional Commission. It's a reappointment. Guy, would you accept a reappointment to that?
Yes.
Sure. Anybody else would like to make a nomination? No? Hearing none, all those in favor of reappointing Guy Tanza as the Brookline representative to the Wyndham Regional Commission signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Guy, thank you very much. And I am going to review over the Wyndham Regional Commission list and see if there's something I can contribute to that, but at this time, I'm not going to be the second appointee, but I might. All right, item E, I am accepting nominations from the select board for the appointment for the emergency management coordinator. I will accept the nomination if someone makes it.
I'll nominate Don Mack.
All right, Bruce Mello has nominated Dot Maggio. Any other nominations? Yes, I will do it.
Oh, you have one.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of appointing Dot Maggio as Brookline's Emergency Management Coordinator signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I guess I have to abstain, I didn't do that before, so I'll abstain, so 3-1, 3 votes, I'm it.
You can vote for yourself.
I can vote for myself, all right, I'm voting for myself, it's unanimous. I'm accepting nominations from the select board for an appointment for the 911 coordinator. In the past, it was Guy Tanza. Guy, would you accept a reappointment for the 911 coordinator?
Yes, I've been doing it for so many years.
Nominate Guy Thompson.
All right, all those in favor of appointing Guy Tanza for our 911 coordinator signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Guy.
Oh, sorry, who is the nominator?
Guy Tanza.
I nominated Guy. Dorothy.
Oh,
I'm taking nominations from the select board for the appointment of the pound keeper for Brookline.
I nominate Dot Maggio.
No, the pound
Oh, that's
keeper.
Okay, that's
that's the
Wyndham.
pound, that would be
Wyndham.
Wyndham Humane Society.
Okay, we have they're not here this evening, but I will check with them, to appoint the Wyndham County Humane Society for our pound keeper.
Is that a contractual agreement?
Yeah,
But why would it be an appointment then?
Yeah. I'm
that
trying
makes
to,
sense.
I don't know if that's I thought it was a contractual
We
agreement.
do get a
I know it's
contract.
in our budget, we
That's
budget
right,
for it.
that's right.
I'm going to table item G
Just
because it needs to be under, it's contractual, correct?
Yeah.
We would contract, not an appointment, so I will table this, and on March 16th, we'll review it again, but I think that's what we're doing, okay. Taking nominations from the select board to appoint the animal control officer.
Now I can appoint Dot Maggio.
Okay, we have a recommendation for Dot Maggio to be the animal control officer. I certainly would like help with this at some point during the year if I'm unable to run around, chase animals, but I'll have to ask the select board for that help when the time comes. So I will accept that appointment, so all those in favor of appointing Dorothy Maggio as the Brookline Animal Control Officer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passed unanimously, thank you.
I didn't wanna vote for it either, just to.
I'm taking nominations from the floor, I'm taking nominations from the select board to appoint a representative to the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District. I will note that Dan Towler was the previous representative. I would like to nominate him, but he's not here this evening. I'd like to approach him to see if he can take that. Is there any questions? Okay, all right, we will table the appointment for item I until I can reach out to Dan Towler. Taking nominations from the select board for the appointment for our representative to Rescue Inc. In the past, it was Jorda Danow, and she is not here at this time. I would like to table item J until I can reach Jorda. She just came back from vacation, I think. And see if she will again represent Brookline. Is that all right with the board?
Yes.
Okay, so we will table item J. Taking nominations to appoint the property manager for the 624 Grassy Brook Road Daycare. In the past, it was Everett Mark Bills. I'd like to nominate Mark Bills. Mark is here. Would you accept the appointment?
I would accept.
You
Okay,
better.
thank you very much. All those in favor of appointing Everett Mark Bills as property manager for the 624 Grassy Brook Road Daycare signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
You're gonna be on here a few more times. Nominations are being accepted for our appointment for the road supervisor. In the past, it was Everett Mark Bills. I'd like to suggest we reappoint him. If there's any question on this board. Mark, would you accept a reappointment as the road supervisor for Brookline?
I would be very happy to accept.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All those in favor of appointing Everett Mark Bills as our road supervisor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. I would like to make a recommendation to appoint the tree warden for the town of Brookline. In the past, it was Everett Mark Bills. He is in the room now. Mark, would you take a reappointment as our tree warden?
I would take the appointment to.
Okay. All those in favor of appointing Everett Mark Bills as Brookline's tree warden signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Good, thank you, Mark.
Thank you all.
Taking nominations from the floor to appoint the building commissioner. In the past, it was Bruce Mello. Bruce is in the room. Bruce, would you accept the reappointment of the building commissioner for Brookline?
Yes, with no comments for a change.
Okay, thank you very much. All those in favor of appointing Bruce Mello as the building commissioner for Brookline signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
I abstain.
You abstain? Bruce is abstaining from his vote. All right, taking nominations from the floor to appoint members of the Brookline Planning Commission. In the past, it was Daniel Kilgard, Barbara Bourne, Charles Ezekiel. Tom Cavat has retired from the position. I did reach out to Daniel and he is willing to stay on as the planning commission, but I would actually ask to table this until we get confirmation. I'd like to invite or ask Barbara and Charles if they will accept the reappointment. So I'm going to table item O.
Can you give me those names and details? You could email me.
Okay, I'll email you. Well, we're gonna just table item O until I get all the people's names organized and checked. Is that okay, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, item P, appoint members to the Brookline Meeting House Committee. In nominating the Brookline Meeting House, I have met with Lee Ann Parker. She would like to be reappointed. Daniel Towler, he would like to be reappointed. Kerry Bourne would like to be reappointed. I would like to be reappointed. Mark, did you want to be reappointed to that?
I haven't been active with the group and I would be glad to donate my efforts in any way possible.
So would like to be an on-call, so maybe not on the committee, but when we need,
If that would work,
That would
I would be glad to take that.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you again.
okay? So all those in favor of appointing members to the Brookline Meeting House Committee, Leanne Parker, Daniel Towler, Kerry Bourne, Dot Maggio, and Mark Bills. And of course, we can always appoint more people as the year goes on, because we do need more. But all those in favor of that, of those people signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item P is passed. Taking nominations to appoint members to the Round Schoolhouse Committee. I will note at this time that this is the first true appointment for the Round Schoolhouse Committee. It used to be considered the
Historical Society.
the Brookline Historical Society, and earlier this year, we changed that out to have the Brookline Schoolhouse Committee. There is no one on that committee officially at this time. However, I would like to nominate longtime resident and Round Schoolhouse member Cynthia Now, myself, and Kerry Bourne has also asked to get on this committee. We have room for others, but if it's all right with the select board, all those in favor of appointing Cynthia Now, Dorothy Maggio, and Kerry Bourne to the Round Schoolhouse Committee at this time signify by saying aye.
Aye.
JP or appoint, okay, all of those, okay, taking nominations to appoint the highway and sand salt shed grant manager. Sam, you were just appointed a couple weeks ago, and since it's a new year, we're going to look to reappoint you to this position if you accept the nomination.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor of appointing Stan Noga as the highway and sand salt shed grant manager signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, very good. Item S, set the time and place for the select board meeting. I would like to nominate or suggest that we continue with the first and third Wednesday of each month at Town Hall, beginning at 6:30 p.m. What is the board's pleasure? Any other suggestions?
I move we keep it the same
Okay, all right, so I made this.
until Monday.
Okay, so the town of Brookline will be meeting on the first and third Wednesdays of the month at Town Hall, starting at 6:30 p.m. I'll just do a quick, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? All right, very good, thank you. Establish official locations and newspaper for posting meetings, hearings. I would like to suggest that we continue with the posting on the bulletin boards located at Grassy Brook Road and Whitney Hill Road intersection, at the town hall, both inside and outside, and at the triangle of Hill Road and Grassy Brook Road near the Green Iron Bridge for the locations. And I would also like to recommend that the Brattleboro Reformer would be our official newspaper. Anybody opposed, all those in favor of those locations and that newspaper for the town of Brookline signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Geez, then. Okay, item U, review policies. The first policy to review is our conflict of interest policy. This is the one that was on file here, and Stan, you retyped this and just changed the signature pages, which is the same thing that Gwen did, and no changes to this policy, obviously.
No changes.
New policy
No
changes.
need to.
All of those in favor of are you accepting this? Accepting the town of Brookline's conflict of interest policy, as written, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Hearing none, the policy will be signed by each of us, because it doesn't matter which, do it in blue ink?
No, it doesn't matter, blue ink, the reason they use blue ink is that if you copy it, you know that it's a copy, because the copy will come out black, but, yeah, blue's fine, blue or black.
Well, I like it blue ink. It's blue ink. Isn't it? No? Okay, well, that's best I can.
Thank you for tightening, you know what, I just ended up doing another one that Gwen did, I'm sorry, I just had this same as that policy. Okay. Rules of procedure.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Guy, could you see a pen that bright blue? The one signature is blue, then I know it's the original. You see what I mean? Yep.
All right, the next policy for review is the rules of procedure. I've asked everyone to review it at home. Does anybody have any questions about the rules of procedure for the select board here in Brookline?
Yeah.
Hearing none?
Yeah, good.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the town of Brookline Select Board Rules of Procedure as presented. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the Select Board Rules of Procedure signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, I'm gonna pass this around for us to sign.
You can sign it.
Oh, great.
This conflict of interest policy is the one that's changed.
No, the purchase policy. is the one that's
Purchase
changed.
This is, what does it say, purchase policy?
That's-
Oh, you want to.
Okay,
Oh, if you sign in my part.
Did I? Well, I'll print my name under where I signed and you can.
next policy for review is the town of Brookline's purchase policy. We'll do it under discussion. I make a motion that we approve the purchase policy for the town of Brookline. Can I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Sam?
There was a minor change that I suggest. And
You just
it-
need to print your name underneath your signature.
yes, let's see. In the old policy, the length of time of the advertisement was stated to be a full 1 week, a full 5 or 7 days, whatever the case may be, for the publication of an RFP. And what I've noted, observed my time on the board is that I don't think we've actually done that. What we've done is put it in for a day, or whatever is deemed necessary. Like the last one was a Saturday. It's correctly the day that you put in. So it was 1 day. So what I did is I replaced the 1 week with the phrase "as necessary." So if the board wants to exercise flexibility, it doesn't have any restrictions in terms of complying with the policy. It gives the latitude necessary to state the number of times you want it and or length.
Especially since there is the opportunity at some point, we're not using it this year, but there are some weekly newspapers that we might have chosen for our bid receipt, such as the Commons, and it would
Yeah, I've
only be
seen-
printable for one time. So we're going to stick with that. Now, should this be tabled for a second meeting since it's a change in it, or do you think we?
It's only a minor change.
It's only a
Well,
minor.
you can vote on the change and then go to.
All those in favor? Okay, because I have a second on the, so I am going to amend my motion to accept the purchase policy as amended. May I have a second on the amended, second by Stan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the purchase policy for the town of Brookline for one, as amended, signify by saying aye. Aye, any opposed? Hearing none, we're gonna pass this around for you to sign.
Now, I think, let me catch up with you. First of all, move to accept as presented. Was there a second on that original motion?
Yes, me.
And
Moved as presented was initially by Bruce, and then I changed it to amend it based upon some
Right.
information and
now we
discussion.
just voted on the amendment, I think.
Yes, okay, we just
So
voted
now you
on,
have to vote on the,
thank you, this is
That's
why I
correct.
need people. Okay. So the amendment passed. All of those in favor of approving the purchase policy
As amended.
as amended, signify by saying aye. Aye. That passed also, thank you.
So if you want to sign the signature page, then the only page we would have to change, if you could
He
strike.
typed it up.
Oh, okay, oh, okay,
That's
So I can
good.
just photocopy it.
Because the signature line indicates the date we're signing it, the other one's last year, this one's this year, March 2nd. So
Yep.
Okay. So we reviewed the conflict of interest, the rules of procedure, and the purchase policy. There are other policies, we're not going to go through at this time that we don't need to sign off, but please note that there's social media policies and other policies that
Oh, I
we are
remember we put that 2 years
responsible
ago.
for, just making sure that we're aware of them, so take your time and look at the website and make sure that everybody brings themselves up to speed with all the policies that we do have.
That you have on.
Everything's online.
Everything's online.
That's what you just said, just the signature page, just the signature page.
And then if you can give me those 3 policies, I need to put them on the web.
But you got them up there.
All right, let's move on here. Item
She's got all
B.
of them there, I believe so. Dot, do you have all the all the
The
pages?
ones that are signed,
Confirmed.
so they don't get,
Rules of procedure. Signed,
So she needs the pages to that.
this is, hold on, I got a lot of papers here, which I didn't wanna have for tonight, so. This is not the one you signed, this is not the one you signed.
Here's
Here's,
everything but the signature page on that, so.
this is the, here's the
That's the
signature
new one,
page. Purchase policy with the signature page. Here. And this is the conflict of interest policy signed.
I need a copy of those for my file because I.
yeah, I've got one, I was just gonna get it out because
Yeah.
there's 2 other ones that are
Right.
floating around.
Thank you, alright. Alright, next item. Item B. Looking for the board to approve a resolution
Okay.
from the People's United Bank that allows for
Secondaries,
a secondary signature on the checks for the town of Brookline.
Okay.
And I have agreed to that appointment, but the resolution needs to be approved by the board.
So it's gonna be Guy
right, it's a resolution.
and you.
Correct.
Do you think that it should be stated as the select board chair should be the?
Yes, I spoke with the bank.
No, I didn't write that, that's not.
Second,
She can sign the resolution as the,
Select board
this is the resolution at the select board, which one is that?
the undersigned or created, this is for,
Not my right.
This is for MasterCard.
Is this?
Isn't it?
This is dots.
I know,
chair.
certificate regarding business card
It
agreement.
must be
Yes.
dots, cause I,
So this
that's
is
not
the
my right.
MasterCard. I have the MasterCard, and what it's saying is that
Yeah,
the
was.
select board is approving that we have the MasterCard, I'm responsible for the MasterCard. This is just the credit card we have, it has nothing to do with the signature for the checkbook.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'd like to approve, I'm stumbling the words again.
Move to authorize?
Okay. Approve to resolve that Guy Tanza, treasurer, is duly authorized and empowered to use the business card for the town of Brookline.
Yes.
May I have a second?
So.
Seconded by Bruce. All those in favor of resolving that Guy Tanza, the treasurer, is authorized and empowered to use the business card for the town of Brookline signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, I shall sign this as the chair.
Do we have a second?
The seconded was by Bruce Mello.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item is a resolution to be approved by the select board that Dorothy Maggio would be an authorized secondary signature for the town of Brookline's checks with the People's United Bank. May I have a second on that, approving the resolution?
I'll second
Gwen Tanza. Any discussion?
That basically, in the event that I become incapacitated or for whatever
Right.
reason I'm not available, we have a second signer and that would be Dot.
Any other discussion?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I don't wanna be, what happens if both of you can't?
Pardon me?
What happens if both of you can't do it?
Then they
Both
hold
of
off
us are in
until
the hospital at the same time.
Well, it can only, I mean,
You can only
it's,
have two people. What, I'm
Yeah,
a backup, I'm
okay.
not a signer, I'm a backup.
Yeah, okay, never mind, move on, sorry.
If anyone, then the bank would have to have another sig.
they just
they'd have to send a new signature card out.
Okay,
All right, all of those in favor of approving the resolution allowing, appointing Dorothy Maggio as a backup signature on the town of Brookline's accounts,
Checking account.
checking accounts, signify by saying aye.
aye,
Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. I will have to sign this later,
Yeah,
there's too many
yeah,
spots
yeah.
to miss.
What
Oh, I missed the second one.
I added
Other
it,
policies to be determined.
I added it under the resolutions from the People's United
Okay,
Bank, and I forgot there were actually two things on the People's United Bank. Check signing and credit card signing.
Okay.
Item W.
Excuse me, I just need to have on one of those forms, the vice chair sign on that,
Right this second or later.
yes.
Okay,
I'll look for it while you're
Okay.
on that.
I can't sign it. You'll have to sign as vice chair, not sign it, to approve myself.
got it.
Who
Okay.
seconded that last one?
Gwen seconded it.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I have it here, if you would just sign
We're asking the vice chair to sign
and just cross out that and put vice chair,
because
and I'll know.
Let's go, board secretary off. And then just sign next to it.
Well, okay, there's a signature up there. And title you put there,
But, yep,
yep, and everything's
well,
good.
I did have the printed name, I did
No,
have
that's
the board
good.
secretary, that's
No,
fine,
that's
okay.
good. And let me just see one last thing, title. Table of that, no, that's good, and I notarize it, I saw you sign it, so.
okay.
Oh,
We're gonna move to item W. I'm accepting nominations from the floor to appoint a representative for Brookline at the Deerfield Valley Fiber program. The past appointee was Dan Demain. He is not here this evening, but with the board's approval, I would like to approach Dan and table item W until the next meeting, in which time I will have to talk with Dan.
Okay.
There you go. X. Okay, item X, which was added to the agenda, is to appoint listers. Since we had not received any votes for listers, I am going to table that until we approach Helen Hunt and Michael Bills to see if they would continue in that position until we can find people who would like to be trained for that. Is that okay with the select board?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to table item X, which is appointing listers. I am sure there'll be other appointments that we will not all
Yeah,
happen
I mean,
in the next 2 weeks because of the number of vacancies that have been left on the list, including a select board position, so this will be an ongoing. Okay. Okay, I think we're gonna move on now to new business. Oh, we're ahead of time, look at that.
Beautiful.
Okay, new business. Appoint chair and vice chair signing pay warrants. I'd like to make a motion that we appoint the chair of the select board and the vice chair of the select board to be able to sign pay warrants as they come through the cycling. May I have a second?
Question,
Under discussion?
under discussion, yes, I'll second the motion.
All right, second the motion. Discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Stan.
It has the word "and" there, which implies both must sign it. Is that the intent?
Oh, you-
That was my typing. Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
boy.
Or.
we could both be signing it already,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah.
If somebody that says Inspector Clouseau, that's for sure.
Oh.
I'm
Alright,
sorry,
it was noted under discussion. It was
what's
noted
the
under
problem with
discussion.
the word?
It was noted under discussion that the way I wrote it in the agenda, it shouldn't say approved chair and vice chair. It should have said approved chair or vice chair in signing the pay warrants. So I'm amending my motion to be or instead of and. So may I have
Second.
a second on my amendment? Seconded by Stan. All those in favor of changing the word and to or signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so approving the chair or the vice chair to sign pay warrants is now the motion. May I have a second on this new way of reading it? Seconded by Stan. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the chair or the vice chair to sign pay warrants signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, pass, thank you. All right, next new business, the request for proposal for painting the church steeple bid date was changed from March 2nd to March 16th as notified by I am told the select board, I put it on Front Porch Forum, I put it in the newspaper.
Duly warned.
And duly warned that we are extending the date because the reformer did not publish the RFP on a timely basis. So the RFP for painting the church steeple has been changed to March 16th to be opened at that meeting. Okay, any other new business anybody wants? Just letting you know. Okay, old business. Sign the 3-year lease contract with Susie's Little Peanuts. We received in return mail from Susie's Little Peanuts, the lease, and it was signed on the 15th of February. All of those in favor of accepting and duly endorsing the lease for Susie's Little Peanuts for the daycare for the next 3 years, signify by saying aye.
I
Aye.
need a second.
Was there a second?
Make a second.
I'll Stan seconds.
Stan seconded.
Any other question, discussion?
Okay, so any discussion?
Was the contract forwarded to the owner of the firm, modified, changed in any manner, shape, or form? Was it accepted and signed as proposed?
It is accepted. There are no marks, editing marks, cross outs, deletions, or highlighted areas. It was as mailed and signed as mailed.
Okay, super, thank you.
All right. All those in favor of signing this lease signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, I will
Can I get a copy of that lease?
sign this. We need
Oh,
to,
yeah,
the tenant made this, what's today's date? The 2nd day of March.
Yeah.
2022, and
Was there
On this page.
that signed, I will hurry.
we send back a copy of it to her on this. Do you have a blue pen? Did you say you
I
had a
do.
blue pen? Might as well do on this for this.
That way they know it's an original.
Yes.
So they have to sign to accept it yet?
They have signed it.
Oh, okay, so now I can make a copy for Bruce now.
Thank you.
And for her too, I guess.
So she has a signed copy.
And then we
Yeah.
can just stamp copy on it.
Great.
January,
Good.
March.
She's got a stamp out there that says copy.
Okay.
I don't forget to stamp copy on this copy,
Yes, dear.
another here.
All right, moving on.
Thanks, Joe.
Old business item B, RFP for repairs to the Brookline Meeting House steeple tabled at the last meeting. Review insurance certificate, payment schedule, start date, et cetera, award bid and vote. So here is the. All right, estimate for flashing replacement on Meeting House slate roof, steeple base, bell tower. As specified in the scope of work provided by the Meeting House committees and approved by the town select board, which means RFP as written. Cost estimate for the described project is $9,420. Note, any unforeseen work not described in the scope of work previously described that has been there's no certificate, no insurance.
We have one on file.
No, it's not,
It's not good.
It hasn't, I thought it expired in June.
Correct.
All right,
but for us to approve it, we have to have the insurance certificate that says it's through the date that it needs to be done.
Which is August, right?
Well, it is August 30th, but let me offer this comment. In going through the grant work, I have found at least one document from the state whereby the town does not have an insurance certificate through the anticipated completion date because it's out there. And what they've done, and I think I've sent Dot a copy of this, as a matter of fact, they've stated that you have one in effect now, and you promise that under the term of this agreement, you will renew it and provide evidence of it, essentially. So I think that, I mean, I would suggest that we offer the same issue or scenario to our contractor in this situation. Not because it's that contractor, but as a general rule, where you've got nebulous dates, they don't know the weather, personal issues, whatever might happen, child gets sick, wife gets sick, he gets sick, falls, whatever, and he can't start in May, but he can do it in July. I mean, as long as we're made and advised that he's current in his coverage, I don't see the need.
Let's stop. You know what? I didn't read the last word here.
Okay.
One moment. Very major point. Let me finish reading it then. I stopped because I didn't see any attention. No, any unforeseen work not described in the scope of work previously described that has direct association with the work outcome that has to be addressed will be done at a rate of $55 per hour plus lift cost as needed. An example would be an excessively rotted roof deck that would not adequately hold slates. Endorsement from the select board would be required beforehand. Terms of payment have to at project signing, half remaining due on completion. Project start date, April 20th, 2022, weather permitting. Completion date, May 30th, 2022. So the certificate of liability on file would be sufficient at this time because the completion date is to be done by the end of May. So we're looking at a 40-day program. Let me pass this around for people to look at it.
The lift charge and the $55 per hour applies for items above and beyond the original.
That's correct. That's correct. And he puts it, he doesn't specifically say, because I'm not sure of this item, he says, an example would be an excessively rotted roof deck that would not adequately hold slates.
We're not doing this.
I don't know, I have a problem with that. That's an opening contract. That's not a bid, that's an opening contract. Because he doesn't know, I'm not faulting him for not knowing it, but he's putting a bid based on fixing the issue. So I think what I'm saying is, he should have maximized the bid and said, that's the maximum bid based on everything that's needed to be done, even if I find rock done, not open-ended dot, not open-ended, say, well, I'm gonna bid at $9,400, but I don't have any idea how much it's gonna cost to replace the rock, depending on how much rock there is. I don't like that. Not my house, I can tell you. You guys can do what you want, but I'm not happy with that. That's an open-ended contract. I think it had to be $4,000.
What, so,
Although it does say that the select board has
Yes, it
to
does.
approve, I suggest, yeah.
Yeah, but he's already rented the lift. He's already got it there. He's already doing work on the steeple. He's got a half-ripped part most likely. And I said, well, it's gonna take me another 20 hours to fix it. I'm exaggerating probably.
He started on it already?
No, that's
He's
not
not,
what I'm saying.
he's supposing, oh, I was
supposing.
gonna say,
Because if he gets to a point where he's gotta come to the select board to approve the additional work, he's got the lift there. We'd have to have a special meeting, put on there
Yeah,
and
you
look
would
at
have
it,
to, I would do a special meeting for that.
but still, he's already taken the roof half apart. What I'm saying, and I think I'm being clear, is he should have maximized the cost and said, it will not cost over this much, or given a range, it will cost from $8,000 to $9,500. Rather than just saying, it's about $9,450 or whatever it is, plus whatever else I find.
I would wanna, I don't
Do you
have a-
disagree with me, Stan?
Yes, I would never, as a contractor, sign a contract where there weren't provisions for unforeseen circumstances. When I,
which is what he notes.
which is what he knows, I mean, as a loan officer, this happened a lot with people who had a job done. And
I have to come back
unfortunately,
to you for money.
then they have to come back for more money, because now it's a bigger, costlier thing than it was. So there were those people initially, before I required an agreement to address this kind of thing as a loan officer. I learned that I needed to build this in, these people weren't going to. You know, they just trust everybody, and everything's gonna be ideal and great,
Right.
hunky-dory. In life, it doesn't happen that
No,
way.
it doesn't.
So I said, in the event, this is, you know, we have a set contract, and have this kind of provision in it. And it basically indicated that, the involvement for any additional work had to build into it, in this case, it'd be the town, and the contractor. I would suggest that there be a discussion about what needs to be done and why. And then not use the word endorsement, but approve, an approval from the select board for any additional work
Thank you.
and or costs. Should be, you know, negotiated at that time. If he doesn't know, none of us knows what that job entails. It might be a slight fix, it might be a big fix.
That's right.
And what if he finds something that's terrible in terms of there being major structural issues, which I can't imagine because everybody's been up there kind of already.
No,
I think the town ought to reserve the ability to say, hold it, let's stop here. And or look at the agree upon an adjustment to the cost at that time. Because once it's open, you see what it is, you pretty much know, I need this amount of materials of this kind and quality. It's gonna take me about this number of hours. And so you can have another number, and the town should be a part of that decision, so you don't get blindsided. So that you're a part of the review, you're a part of the decision, and both parties agree for an amendment or change to this agreement as a result of that. That's the way I've seen it done, that's the way I think it should be done.
Okay.
So that there is not any of us leaving this room tonight having in the back of our mind was your heads hitting the pillow tonight, that we're leaving ourselves open to a mess or a larger expense than anticipated, significantly larger.
Right, that's kind of what I was planning to.
So I think that's the way of dealing with it.
He did say He did
Shall we
say,
table this until we have a select board derived?
We need a disclaimer
Addendum?
page,
what's that?
a disclaimer page saying that upon mutual agreement.
But the problem with that is.
One person at a time,
I'm sorry.
because we got the recorder going on. So are we, I'm asking, shall we award this, accept this bid with an understanding of provisional amendments being added, or should we get the provisional amendments together and award it at the next meeting?
I would think that's the safer way, because then you'd see it in writing, and hopefully he would be here, so we can talk about it, and initial, cross out, whatever, so it's done and over with, he knows he's on, on board, and that we know we're on board. But that's just a thought,
I stand to
whatever.
question to you, am I being unfair into saying that it's basically an open-ended contract because he doesn't really know? Am I being unfair to the contractor that way?
No, it's an accurate statement in the sense that potentially, depending on how bad it is, we don't know what it's gonna cost. So if he says it's gonna an additional $8,000, we weren't planning on a $17,000
Right.
cost. We were planning on a $9,000 cost. And at that point, I mean, we could negotiate the extent of the modification and and come to a dollar amount agreement and a time frame agreement that everyone feels he's not getting taken advantage of, and we're not not producing in a proper fiduciary manner our role in protecting the citizens of the town.
Good thinking, it's better than, we're lucky in this respect, because it's a local person who cares about the building. So we'll put that over there.
He's on a commitment, yeah.
But if we took if it was somebody else that was on it, wasn't from the area, well, I'll do this job for 94, right?
It still requires it in both cases, when you know the person or you don't know the person, because
But I'm
I've seen
saying-
friends,
On the given bid, is what I mean.
Yeah.
If it was a different person going on this bid stand, and it was based on the original bid of 9450, that the person could just come in, okay, well, this is what I bid it on, complete the work, and if they see the rock, they could just do it and leave what they've got, not even notifying us. Under this change eliminates that, he's saying that he wants to fix it, but it's gonna cost you.
and if you were the contractor, you would want done with you.
Sure.
You're not gonna do work for nothing.
Sure,
You're gonna get payment, and you're gonna treat them right.
right, but on the reverse, I don't want a slap shot job done, which is what would have been happening if we just accepted the bid of 9450 and there was no other cost. I guess what I'm saying is, there's room for him to come back to us to get additional money if there's more work that needs to be done, but under the original agreement, there wasn't.
Contract is as good as its intent.
Well, it's open-ended in the sense that nobody knows what's underneath, that's like,
That's right.
nobody knows what's underneath the trim on the steeple. And so it would appear, and tell me if I'm wrong or viewing this the wrong way, so that everybody is feeling fairly dealt with. At the same time, everybody is appropriately taking responsibility for what their role in it is. It would seem to me that there be a section of that agreement, or we ask him to execute in addition to that, if he doesn't want to modify that. Well, it's gotta be modified or amended, one of the.
Right.
And it would be something to the effect that, depending on, if the select board maintains the right to call a halt to the whole thing.
They can.
As our bid basically said, that if, there was something that we didn't like, it's over and done with, as our contract says, but in any event, I think this will work out well. It's just a matter of us finding a way to tie it all together, so there are no surprises. If there is a surprise, we're a part of the decision-making process, and we can, as an input from Carrie and our own thoughts about it, where we might have experience in building, be able to come to a conclusion of what needs to be done, what its additional cost is, and decide if everyone wants to pursue it or stop where it is and just put it back together and not cost it down another $10,000 or whatever.
There's another point, if I could make, is we have a track record here too. Because he did Greer Bridge. And we're really, really pleased with not only with the work he did and the way he approached it and the price he gave the town, he saved the town a lot of money. So I gotta say, given what I said, when I started with this discussion, maybe the edge goes in his favor at this point. But I think to protect the town, to protect the money, especially considering the size of the money, that the additions that you proposed, that you're proposing is probably a sound idea.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to
Smoke.
accept this estimated bid of $9,420 from Kerry Bourne to do the steeple repairs as advertised, with the understanding that an amendment will be added to the contract.
I'm wondering if a change order is necessary, all parties must participate.
Oh, make it that a change order, if necessary, must be signed off by all parties.
Okay, does that cover it?
That seems pretty simple, concise way to do it.
Yeah, let's not get stupid, I don't mean that in a bad
Everyone
light.
feel comfortable?
Peter, could you repeat what you think I said?
People listen, no.
No pressure.
That's not fair.
Accept the estimated bid of $9,420 from Kerry Bourne to do the steeple repairs as stated, with the understanding that an amendment will be added to the contract stipulating that a change order must be signed by all parties.
Sounds good, Peter, you're awake.
I'm glad you didn't quit, Peter.
Please note,
Thank you.
terms of payment, 1/2 due at project signing.
Sign. Yes, what's
Maybe
this,
contract signing or something, not project signing, contract signing.
what's that saying?
But that implies that he gets paid since
When the
we
crowd-
approved it. So maybe we ought to table it so that we don't issue a check before we have the
The change.
agreement to exercise a change order, should it become necessary.
I know what he's
Does that
doing.
make sense?
I'm gonna-
Okay, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then one
This,
more
that's
step.
as if the project signing would be tonight, so we'd have to cut a check, half 50% of it,
What date is his projected start date?
April 20th.
So why are we giving him money a month and a half?
Because I asked him to give us an indication of a payment schedule.
I see.
So
I was, the last bid, the payment was due at the end, never said anything, so I said, you're not gonna need any startup money? He said, oh, so that's why
Yeah,
I
what's
asked.
the idea for cost?
I have seen such agreements where and maybe we do need to table it or, because we don't wanna modify it without him being present. I would suggest we table it till the next meeting and offer this as a, depending on how everyone here feels, that the payment date should, half of that would be, I think, okay upon start of the project, as opposed to executing the contract. If he's gonna sign it now in cold weather, and not start till April 20th,
We're gonna give him money
we
now?
might wanna make what minimal interest it is in our account, rather than let it sit out there for 60 days or not.
It could be, we can put on the April 20th warrant the 50% of the,
Or,
50% of the, instead of doing 50% now.
Right.
I can ask if that ask if the change order and payment schedule can be modified
so we
in
have to
agreement
table
with
this.
that. Yes, sir.
I think we should compromise a little bit. In that knowing building materials and knowing you've got a reserve things, that maybe we should include it on the 6th rather than the 20th. You know, that's bending his way a little bit, it's still, but that's still 14 days beforehand. I don't know if he has to order any building materials, I don't know if he's getting copper, I have no
Yes,
idea.
Yes, yes, yes.
And as
That's
much,
a good idea.
and as much as, you know, the situation that's happened. I haven't been Bill Perkins, any of them since last year, so I'm a little out of the loop. But given everything that's going down, there could be some supply issues, especially related to pressure treated. I'm not aware, I haven't been in the bin, looking around to see what they have. But I think, I'm kind of feeling that he's not trying to get his money early to spend on someplace else. I'm getting the feeling that he wants some money so he can get his materials together. And I don't think that's an unreasonable request, I just think the length of time is a little.
Yeah, if we sign this tonight, then we don't have that ability to provide him with 50% tonight. So we would be violating the contract if we signed.
I mean, yeah, the next pay order wouldn't be until the
16th anyway.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, I am going to,
Here we go again.
this is where David was always helpful, but I'll rely on my other select board members here.
Come on, you're doing just fine.
I am going to remove my previous motion,
Okay,
strike my previous motion
we're gonna make a new motion.
in light of the payment schedule question. And instead, I would like to move to table this bid once more until March 16th to meet with the contractor about the payment schedule and change order procedure.
Yeah, that sounds okay.
Well, initiate a change order process, because, he's gotta agree to that.
But, all right, so what did I say, Peter?
You said withdrew the motion in light of payment schedule question and moved to table the matter until March 16th, pending meeting with the vendor about payment schedule and change order procedures.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Stan. Any discussion? I would like to note that I appreciate the effort that Kerry is making towards improving and getting the church into a healthy state. And I am fairly sure that the process will run smoothly. And at this point, I would ask all of those in favor of tabling this for the above reasons signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is tabled at this time for those reasons. And
Can I
will
ask a question
contact-
after this? I was in there making copies, there were 2 envelopes there, was that a different bid for a different project?
Scott is referring to a letter, sealed envelope that came from Omamini Painters, and it says, "Attention Brookline Meeting House repairs." I think because originally it was tonight that this has to be here, if it was for the painting, I am going to open it.
Yeah, just-
If it's for painting, I am not going to
Painting
share
was
the
the 16th.
information.
Painting was the 16th.
Right, but
The
it's repairs
16th,
on the
but it says repairs on the outside, but it's still too late. So I'm not gonna open this.
Well, you
Well-
extended, I thought you extended the bid period.
Painting, not repairs.
I don't know, he may have,
He may have a misnomer.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just gonna
Okay,
do,
okay.
I'm just gonna look to
So
see
that's
if
what
it's
I'm
for
saying,
painting or if it's for
Yeah.
paint, it's for paint. So I am not going to review this I just looked at the title,
Good judgment.
so, okay. So this is not gonna be really reviewed until the 16th.
Okay.
I'm gonna be here tomorrow, this is an offer.
okay, but are both those bids for the same
I'm not
project?
talking
Oh,
about
okay.
that. Exactly.
Okay.
The first one was
No,
for
same.
Okay, that's-
heirs to the building, right?
Oh, okay,
The
I'm
first one
sorry.
we were discussing was for repairs.
Repairs.
Kerry Bourne
Okay.
repairs, Wilmomini Painting.
Okay,
Alright, so
thank you.
Make an offer.
what am I doing?
I'd like to offer a comment.
Stan.
If you would like me to put together some phraseology regarding
Cover letter.
a change order issue. I'd be happy to do that tomorrow
Okay,
and send it to everybody.
thank you.
And then you have 2 weeks to look at it, see what you
Okay.
think.
Okay, perfect, thank you,
I'll
Stan.
respond right on, okay.
Great.
Alright,
Moving
moving
on.
along,
Okay, you're right on the target now.
Yeah.
Most of the time, Doc.
Oh, yeah.
now I will
Too
go
much
to
BS.
summary
Yeah,
and
like me.
updates and reports. I'd like to welcome our newly elected town clerk, Guy Tanza, to share his wisdom with the select board this evening.
You have any experience?
I got experience, you're number 84,
Well, thank you very much.
this is your number 84, is it?
This is, I think, year 12, and
We
I
have a senior and you can look at
And
the
I
people.
really thank the residents of Brookline who supported me and have been with me for the last 12 years. It's an absolute delight working for the town, and I look forward to another year. And hopefully, we'll get all the dogs licensed that we have to get licensed this year. And we have another election coming up, seriously, we have another election coming up on March 23rd, which is for the school budget. That's an important budget. It's approaching $13 million, and all that information is on the town website, and they can review the warning and see what it is. We do have ballots, and we will accept absentee ballots again with that. And so the sooner you get the request in, the sooner you will get the ballot. And the polling place will be here in the town of Brookline from 9 until 7 p.m. 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. So that's pretty much everything. It was a long election. I thank the 75 people who cast their ballots, and also the people who helped count, the Board of Civil Authority, the Select Board. It was all important, and we got through it in a rather timely fashion. Just the ends where you put all the numbers together were a little long, but it was a good opportunity and a good time to see some people, and I'm really pleased that we had 75, which is 3 more than last year, so we're in the right direction.
That's great,
And next year, hopefully, we'll have a
in person.
floor meeting. Yeah, that would be an absolute delight.
We'll have heat.
Thank you.
All right, select board chair report, again, thank you all for your continued service to the town of Brookline. We talked after our hearing about not having any real fiery issues to deal with, and we're blessed in that respect, and we are also, I think we have a very competent board. We are short 1 board member, and we will try to reach out to our community, and if someone is interested, there are many positions that are still available, whether they be appointments to committees or be positions that were electable positions that need to be appointed for a short term, such as a select board person. We would appoint someone for 1 year of the 3-year, and then you would have to run the following March. But we will look for additional people to get involved in the community. We have a small town of 550 some less people.
540.
540 people, and we have 6 or 7 or 8 people that show up regularly at select board meetings online or here in the room. We just need a little bit more participation. So for the town to run smoothly, we need to do some more delegation of responsibilities, and so I'm always looking for volunteers. I do thank those people who have been volunteering. The Brookline Meeting House has been very active, and appreciate all of the efforts done by them, and we look forward to a good, successful year.
Question?
Yes, sir.
How many taxpayers are you gonna have?
I mean, what?
Taxpayers. How many?
We have
voters?
334 parcels.
Okay, I didn't say that right. How many voters do we have? We have
We
540.
have 442 voters,
Okay, that's all I know.
and we had 75 people participate.
Okay, it's funny though. Thank you.
All right, moving on then from, so I have a short select board report, it's a long day. Building commissioner,
Okay, all right, got nose dive right into that, didn't I? First off, I'd like to, Bill got my little memo about the $525 plumbing bill. So I think we should discuss that and agree to do something with it. And you all heard my opinion, I always said, if everybody read my email.
okay, Bruce is referring to a bill received from Best Septic Service regarding Susie's Little Peanuts plumbing issue. It is it says we received on January 27, 2022 for the site at 624 Grassy Brook Road. We, meaning Best Septic, received a call that there was a septic backup. We went to the site, dug 1 foot to the inlet of the tank. We ran the camera from the inlet to the clean out and then from the clean out to the toilets. We found a blockage between the clean out and the toilets. We snaked the line to clear the blockage. We ran the camera through the line to confirm it was totally clear. So it appears that there was not a septic problem. If it was a septic problem, the town should have been notified and we would have called one of our approved vendors to work on the problem. Being that it was a basic toilet clog, I believe that would be the responsibility of the tenants. I'm gonna survey my fellow select board members about that. Bruce,
You know how I feel, I already sent the letters.
please say it out
Okay.
loud.
Okay. I think that, given everything I know about the situation, that they didn't follow the proper protocol and didn't do what
Is this for Bill, for us, or for them?
for them.
Okay, so you feel that this is not appropriate for this town of Brookline to pay, this is something for this.
Yes, they also had another clogs several months earlier, and I instructed them to follow the same procedure, and they didn't.
Stan?
Yeah, the system is there, it's maintained by our system. And it appears to be a tenant caused problem. And as such, the tenant should have responsibility for paying those bills.
Gwen?
I feel the same way, it was the tenant created the problem, not the system that we maintain.
That's correct.
Unfortunately, because it was called in as a septic issue, it appears that their service call, truck, equipment, and 2 men for 1 hour was a cost of $425. And additional hour at $75 per man gave a total of $575 for a clogged toilet. But I also agree that this needs to be returned to the Sunny Lane daycare, and I don't mind doing
Excuse
a
me?
cover letter, Susie's Little Peanuts, excuse me. Okay,
Yes.
all right, so that was just a consensus that this was delivered in error, it's not something that we're responsible for. Continue?
Okay, I emailed everybody in the select board and Mark the opportunity to come with me that I spoke about last select board meeting, to meet with Hiram Knapp for the reasons I already stated. Basically, bottom line was to have you all look at the boilers and hear from Hiram why we should consider having a plan of replacing them down the road. Initially, I called the meeting for 10:30 tomorrow morning, but Hiram called me about 5 o'clock this afternoon and said he can't make it tomorrow, he's got another issue that he's gotta deal with. So he's gonna call me back tomorrow, probably tomorrow afternoon, to reset up the meeting for either Friday or Monday or Tuesday, and we'll see. It's a flexible situation, we work very well together. It'll still be in the morning. If it happens to be on Tuesday, we're gonna have to make it earlier because we have the Wyndham Regional meeting at 11 o'clock on that day, correct? Okay, so just to be very quick about it, I have a very quick agenda. And actually, when you all meet with him, he's probably gonna be doing most of the talking, and you're gonna probably do most of the questions as far as understanding what I said before. I am going to meet with him with Mark a little bit beforehand to discuss, and he's also going to explain to you all what happened, what caused the problem. But before that all occurs, I need to discuss with him a little better understanding of the system. And I wanted Mark involved in on that, just so that he hears how the system works, what went wrong, and going forth, how the thing functions, what a zone valve does, what a thermometer does, what relates to the others in relationship to the boilers and transformers and circulators. And I didn't really feel that unless somebody wants to come to it, wanted to hear all of that.
Right.
So I decided, and I have a number of questions that I want to clear up so I understand it right to the T exactly how the system performs. Well, my main thrust, and then, like I said, we won't come to that too. My main thrust was to have him explain to you all why, in his words, why we should consider replacing.
Sorry, the name,
You will get in touch with us to let us know
Oh,
when
I'm
there's a
sorry,
meeting.
Peter's in arrears.
yes, who was that you're gonna meet with?
Hiram Knapp.
From Coda and Coda.
Did I go too fast? I'm so awfully sorry.
So
I believe it's
representative from Coda and Coda.
I think his last name was Knapp.
Yes.
So you'll let us know when Hiram Knapp,
Do you wanna revisit it, Peter? Did I
I'm
go
good.
too quick?
Thanks.
Okay.
there was discussion. Alright,
All right.
anything else?
Yeah, not much, but where we're at right now specifically, he's dealt with some issues today. One was in the hall, which was a reversed zone valve that he replaced. We're gonna make a change in the infant bathroom upstairs. It's an overheating issue. He's discussed it with Stephanie and he's working that out. And he's synchronizing the air-to-air exchangers, and after that, other than putting, I forget the name of that thing. That tells you if the water, if you're flooded in the basement. he's
Water
gonna-
monitor.
He's gotta order that. But basically today, it should be done with the whole system.
So by basically today, you feel the system, the heating system at the daycare should be wrapped up.
Yes.
And the next meeting will be to discuss going forward plan, just get a little.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
And I believe, I haven't triple checked it, but last time I looked, everything was working just fine. And we are online, did I do that right? For the monitoring, I bought them the Wi-Fi extender, you saw that last time. I don't believe they've hooked that up yet because we only have 2 rooms on the website that's telling us what the temperature is and when it's heating. So it tells you when it fails, and it tells you, there's a whole website in Honeywell to tell you when to replace filters, and I haven't really surveyed the whole website yet, but it's pretty minimal as to what we really need. But the end of it is that we'll be warned if there's an issue, and that's great comfort to me, and it's great comfort to the daycare because I'll be ahead of them. I'll know it in advance. If I get an email on my Gmail site that says toddler room 40 degrees right now, or I don't know when it trips. Meaning, did I say that right? I don't know when.
you don't know what the parameters are, but we're gonna learn
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all good. Everything that's been going on is all good so far. It cost us a phenomenal amount of money, but you'll have an answer for that when we're done. You should be seeing another bill from them. That's gonna be pretty steep for a 2-day going back to,
Whatever, if it's a
It's
sign,
17th.
remember, I'll just scan it to you and.
I believe it's the 17th and 18th.
Because I'd like you to make the final approval for payment.
Yeah, okay. But I've been watching it,
Judy
and I've
knows
been
what-
covering it, and I've been talking to Coda about it, and so far, so good. The end of the story is, I wanna know what he replaced. I wanna know the zone valves he replaced. The thermostats are easy, but especially the zone valves, because if they malfunction again, warranty time. You know, what's gonna go on here? I mean, I'm not gonna replace zone valves in 5 minutes. So anyway, it got really expensive, and I'm hoping that with the service contract and the moves going forward, that we won't have the issues that we've had for the last 8 years, at least since I've been doing it.
Well, thank you very much for all the work and effort
Yeah.
that you put on this.
Yeah, you've done
Oh, wonderful.
done a great job.
Question?
Yes, has your conversation with Hiram dealt with the concept of now that it's working right, you should have a X% more efficiency, and as a result of that, X% of reduction in fuel use?
That's a fair question. But that system, quite frankly, the way it's set up, because of the age of it, and because of the lack of insulation of the pipes, and it's very inefficient. So the direct answer to your question is not a specific answer. Okay, we have had a labor discussion about what to, and we're gonna revisit it. And we talked about it, about insulating the pipes, insulating inside underneath the old building, what to do going forward, because it's part of the three-prong thing I told you about at the end of the last meeting, which was the three-prong attack I have, which is the boilers.
Yeah.
The electrical, because there's 88 fixtures in that building. And the insulation and sealing of the building. So it's really a three-pronged. We're going after, we've got the HVAC system supposedly straightened out, but the boilers are most paramount. The direct answer to your question, not a direct answer, but it's extremely inefficient. So even if we did do some insulating, and I don't know how much we dramatically decrease the cost of their consumption, I mean, the amount of their consumption, but I doubt if it would be enough to make them go excited. You know, get them excited. Cause at best, it's like a 40 to 45% efficiency system, and it's a fair question for Hiram too, because he'll explain to you how that boiler works, and he'll explain to you the inefficiency of the system and how it performs and why it's inefficient, because he did it to me. That's why I wanted him to meet with you guys.
As we move forward, I will say though, I can almost guarantee that it will not be as expensive because if we're now regulating the heat.
Without a doubt.
That's what I think he was saying.
Okay,
As far as the efficiency, we're not gonna be wasting power,
That's-
energy, propane
oh, if that was
for
what you
that
paid for,
going on and on and on.
Well, obviously, if the valves are backwards,
yeah,
the heat wasn't getting to parts of the building, and yet the furnace was running and running because there was a thermostat calling for it.
right,
They couldn't get there, so knocking and so on and so forth.
what's more than
It
that,
seemed to me, it seems to me that if everything is going to be in order now,
Mhm.
when heat is called for, it will be delivered and the thermostat can be turned down to where it's now becoming a more cost efficient for the tenant system set up for them to not have them spend the money they were spending.
immediately there'll be a relief, if that's your answer.
That's my
But-
simple question. Okay.
Just to add one more point, is I have Tina's numbers going back to 2015, month by month.
Mhm.
So here I was in consideration if we're gonna do anything about refunding them money because of the gas concession. But anyway, I'm gonna make this last point. I looked at Tina's consumption, and I looked at their consumption last year, and I looked what happened now, and it was, to answer your question, it was a blowout. I mean, it was ridiculous.
I'm sorry, what?
It was a blowout, meaning, whatever
It
happened.
cost a lot more this year than it did before because of the inefficiency of the
Because
system.
of the
It's
thing
running
breaking.
too much.
Okay.
Because of breaking too, transformers not working,
Right.
on and on.
One more question if I may,
Yeah, go.
and as concise as possible.
I'll
Back
try.
when we had the fellow from, who was also maintaining the old furnaces of Brattleboro Retreat. He came down and he went inside the furnaces, if I recall our discussion at one select board meeting way back when. And he said they were solid furnaces,
Yes,
obviously dated. He saw no signs of weaknesses.
yes.
The gaskets were no leaks, no nothing. The concern about having new boilers put in, is it A, efficiency, or B, simply having a plan in place rather than looking for replacement in the near future?
I've had a plan,
A plan, okay.
okay? Whether we replace it is based on everything you're talking. Has to be a complete discussion. You don't go out and spend $25,000 without a complete analysis, which is exactly what you're talking about. So I
But-
totally agree.
Being proactive and having an understanding and having a plan is what.
Right, because lastly, and I'll be short, I think. If we get to the middle of any month in that building, if we don't have a plan in place and we're forced to do something that we might not want to do if it breaks. And if that happens, we have a time, if it's February 1st and the boilers go, we gotta close them down. And we have to get the equipment in there, and they have to, this is all, we're putting the control all on their hands to make us happy again, to have a situation fixed. So, you know, if those boilers start leaking and they're done, we gotta close the building. It's that simple.
You said you had one, now you got another one.
It's gonna probably be quicker than you think.
We're gonna get into this, Stan, quite a bit.
Well, there's an issue here in that whatever we get, whatever terrifically 96% efficient or whatever for the future, it's nothing that any person who's handling that system now in terms of a vendor that we use or anyone else is gonna order and have to sit in their warehouse for years, waiting for the thing to fail. So whatever the dilemma is that's gonna happen, whenever it happens, we're gonna be waiting a little bit. It's not gonna be instantaneous.
That's true.
So, you know, I hope that our expectations are simply, they have a plan. Yes, we gotta do
Yes.
something. When it happens, yes,
Yes,
we'll know when and what, assuming it doesn't go into 5 or 6 years.
Well,
yeah,
Correct. This meeting isn't gonna solve any immediate need that we have. It will be simply truly planning in the future, I suspect.
financial planning is, I think, the key word, because
Yes,
if we collect rent each month and so forth, and we're not spending it on other things, I think there has to be some sort of money put away for capital improvements for that particular building.
we all already have that kind of,
well, hopefully
Sorry.
that's what the rent was for, you know?
Well,
yeah, well,
we're spending the rent though is almost as
I
fast as
know,
we're
I
getting it.
know. I've looked at this since
Yeah,
we
but
get
that's-
back at 2
Thank God we have the rent.
7 years later, and what do we have?
yeah, well, you know, I'll take some of the blame on that.
No, there's no blame, it's a
Well,
matter of,
no,
the
wait a minute.
building was what it was.
Yeah, it
Everything
was. And I probably I had no idea that some files were turned around the world and wiring was not done right. But now we have a dedicated vendor, they're the only ones to touch that, they have my commitment, not even Mark and I can touch that system. The only thing we're gonna do is replace filters
Oh, yeah.
and turn a time clock, that's it. We're touching nothing, but
Anything else?
but one more thing and then I'm done. This part of this is to have a plan and to look at other options to see if it's more feasible for a plan down the road. That's it.
Good job, indeed, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on
Good job, you're so
to
sharp.
highway and salt sand shed grant report, Stanley.
Yes, I think I'm narrowing it down a little bit, I guess we got one grant. We got 3 grants in the hopper, I believe, the leaf blower grant, we gotta have something done by early summer. I think the date is July 1st, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
So we need to be aware of that and do something about that, at least, you know, look at bids, whatever, so that's one grant. The grant that we did last fall, late in November, there was a special meeting on the 28th or 29th, I think, of November, was kind of like the last day. I'm not sure what the dollar amount of that is. I've looked at some paperwork, and I looked at some notes in the folder, but I hadn't seen the dollar amount, so I gotta do a little more research on that. So that's number 2. And the third one appears to be the sand salt shed. And the overview of that is that David was wonderful in setting up a meeting with the V-Trans fella. I don't believe he attended that, he had something else come up. And Margot Gia from Wyndham Regional, Dot and myself, kind of to get a feel for where that sat. It appears that the design work and the overall plan, the specification, et cetera, was being done by Ron Bell, the design person from Lake Spofford area. It was sent up to V-Trans, to the gentleman responsible for it there. The day or 2, maybe 3 days after the Zoom meeting that David set up with Dot, me, and Margot and himself, we got a note from V-Trans. They had looked at Mr. Bell's work. Apparently it was ordered, but there were 5 or 6 forms that needed modification and clarity and or replacement. There were pages that on some pages that didn't line up with the same data on other pages, et cetera. That kind of thing, when you're overwhelmed, you're one guy shop and you got 128 pages and you're looking crossways at something, there are needs for correction. So I don't know, in light of the fact that Ron is not only dealing with our town, but he's I believe, doing
New
new things. And I'm not sure if he's the fellow doing Wardsboro's as well.
I think he is.
Okay, so he's got three good sized projects he's doing. So we're close, it seems, I mean, senses, very close. And at that point, when the finalized plans by Ron are then resubmitted to V-Trans, I don't know how long that's gonna take, there was no indication provided by anyone about that. God knows when, it then can be put out to bid. And that's when we find out how much it's inflated from the original anticipated cost to the last number being, like, what is it, 322,000 maybe? Or is it 233?
No, it was 235, the original.
230.
188, the state was gonna pay, the town was on the hook for 40, but that was increased to another number when there was an extension and some more money was being funded. That's the meeting that David went to, I believe. And he informed us at a select board meeting that we were maybe $80,000 or $90,000 more than we
I was
anticipated.
at the same meeting, yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Eighty, 90,000 total?
No, it's in the
$90,000 increase.
$87,000 possibly in match funds that need to be generated by the town for the grants that were applied for thus far. And I've gone on the website of V-Trans to find out if there is a location in their website that provides a status of that grant. I have not found it. So I don't know where the one that we voted on as a board last November is.
The additional.
The additional amount. I know that the leaf blower, $6,700, I believe is that amount, is approved. At this point, it's a matter of the town
Ordering.
getting ourselves together and moving forward on that.
I talked with our chief about that and he said he may be able to take a day. And everybody around us that's gotten one, I believe, has gotten it from Fairfields over in it's Hopkins, New Hampshire. And he thought maybe whoever wanted to go, we could do a quick trip over and check them out and learn some information about those leaf blowers. I guess there's multiple models of depending on our needs.
Okay.
So that's the status on those. And there's two more issues I have that I'd like to address. You had asked or expressed concern about possibly being a relocation of the new shed and keeping the old shed. And I believe David indicated that he thought it would probably then be too late to do anything about that. Based on the fact that I did email within a day or two after our last select board meeting, I think I sent a copy to Dot, asking that very question, is there a possibility of doing that? And that was about a week before our meeting on Zoom with Margaret Leah, and she was the one I sent the request to. She has not answered, she did not bring it up during the Zoom meeting. So my feeling regarding that, and I didn't want to embarrass her, frankly, to bring it up again. I let it ride and she has not followed up since. It's probably a dead issue.
Yeah, I have a feeling it may be too late. It's something that I wondered about how it was positioned long ago, but knowing that this was an ongoing grant. And then what really brought my question up was the fact we now started keeping an inventory of crushed stone to be able to use it in soft roads, and I ended up having to break into the stockpile of crushed stone that we have, and we got some great tarps that a guy had picked up for the town, and I got them covered, but at the time of need, the snow that we had been rained on a few times, so it was tough to get the tarp off. I had to do a lot of shoveling and plowing the snow in front, keep moving until I could get the tarp up. So my thought was, to be able to maybe keep the old bays that we use for salt sand shed, to put this stone in the future and be able to put the shed in a different location.
Let's bring this up when you're in in a few minutes.
Okay.
I have some ideas for that I think you'll like.
Sure.
So that's one issue. The other issue is out of concern for your request and trying to figure out what we have here. There were two plans, as you mentioned, there was an earlier one and a later. The early one looks like the new building was placed as you come into the lot, go left toward the existing greater shed building.
Okay.
The new shed was gonna be on the right. So it's gonna be a driveway up to it on the east side of the lot, and there's gonna be a long driveway closer to the road, straight, going back to the greater shed. That appears to be modified. Now, the new shed's gonna be where the one to be torn down is gonna go.
Yeah, that's the
And-
nice stuff.
So now the other road is going around closer, the road to the shed behind is now going on the east side of the lot, back to that shed. So the other thing that you mentioned was snowfall. When you look at the design and the way they got it placed on the lot, the roof is a gable roof like this.
Yeah.
And it's placed so that it's along the road, kind of in line with the current greater shed. And so that any snowfall should not block the access to the greater shed. And if it is, it's only half the snow on that roof.
Right.
And it looks like it's set in so that the rear corner of the new shed is within a yard or so to the roadside of that corner where the entry door is.
Yeah.
So that
So then you've got the snow coming out of that shed against the back of that one. And you couldn't build.
my sense is it's not gonna be a big issue. There may be some, I don't know, it's gonna depend on how much snow.
Right.
But any fears that you might have, that's a major obstacle in terms of having to clear out 4 or 5 feet of snow on a 24-inch snowfall, because everything on that roof come down on the driveway should not happen, should not be in that. Okay. For whatever, hopefully that makes you feel a little bit, hopefully, I feel better about it, and having looked at it, and I just felt that you should know that too.
Yeah, okay, well, I appreciate all that you've done there, Stan, and I guess, if there was a slight chance that it could get tweaked a little bit.
And if somebody wants to take down the old shed and if volunteers in the town and then re-erect that over across the way, I would be happy to volunteer my time and effort to help whoever
That
put
could
it
be an
back up.
interesting situation. You
Well,
know,
that was something I said we could bring up in the,
Okay,
yeah, I
well, you
think
are
that's a
moving.
good idea, I wanna move on, let's
Okay,
move
okay.
along a little bit, but let's stand, any other?
That's it?
Is there a
Very good,
meeting,
Thank you.
is there a meeting?
I'll talk about it next, about this, for the stuff, yes.
Okay, yeah, with the transportation agency, isn't there some sort of meeting in March that we were having with Margo and?
Yes, after town meeting,
Okay, the next up,
Okay,
yeah, I
I'm
will,
sorry.
yeah, I will.
One other additional thing?
Yes.
I'm sorry. There is a report due April 1st, so we're less than 30 days away from it. It needs to be filed with the state by our highway department. It will allow grants to come to us. I got on the internet this afternoon. I looked at a lot of the reports that are on file that we sent to them, all the stuff that that the V-Trans District 2 has for us, the charts, the roads, the condition, et cetera, and there appear to be 3 grants listed or 3 issues that we're supposedly working on. And in doing that, looking at some of the criteria, there is a report due, I don't know, it's
The Better Roads Grant?
it may be that they call it something else, it's got a 4-letter initial. To municipal better, MRGP or something like that, yes.
Yeah.
And that report has to be filed by April 1st, I don't know if you're aware of that, I know it's not in the
No,
past.
I wasn't, Megan from V-Trans was gonna contact us
Right,
to meet here with us
right.
to talk about that kind of stuff, so.
And then there's the T60 report, was due 45 days from
Right,
yesterday, town meeting.
right, well, she said that she would help us with that report that, I have some old paperwork that we do that every year. T6 report has to be done, it's the amount of money we spent on our highways, each individual highway, we have to submit that to V-Trans so that it guarantees that we get our state payment every year.
Right, right. And I don't know if you log on to the treasurer's department in the state of Vermont, but I was able to generate a list of every check that's been sent to the town of Brookline.
I do, I have,
You
I have
got
a copy
that?
of that, yeah,
Okay.
the
So that
financial-
was very helpful, letting
Yeah.
me know which grant had been fulfilled and paid for by the
Yep.
state. That was great. I didn't know if you were aware.
Yeah, they do it in 6-month increments.
6 months in, yeah.
Yeah, and I have, in fact, I downloaded that just the other day because I was trying to get an absolute handle of what monies have been transpired, what have gone into our checking accounts, because there hasn't been any reconciliation done in 6 months, and I'm a little.
And
uneasy with
the
that.
last thing is, and it is truly the last thing, is that, in my research, I found out that there are at least 3 reports the town of Brookline and every town in the state needs to file with the state of Vermont, and it requires there be a budget for winter expense, summer expense, winter revenue, and summer revenue regarding highways. It has to be on our books. So we cannot eliminate one of the
I
categories.
saw that email, and I'd like to look into that to see, what that's all about.
I got the forms, I just gotta type it all out.
Yep.
I'll present it to whoever.
Okay.
It has to be done.
Yeah, thank you, very fair. Any other reports, Glenn? No. He's good. All right, I have on here 2 things, the road commissioner report, and Archie, we're gonna approach Archie to ask him to be our road commissioner, and once he accepts that, then we need to set up an appointment for us to meet with Archie here to plan our mitigation and program forward sooner rather than later, shortly after, as soon as possible, we can do that. And while Stan had mentioned, what I was thinking as far as taking down that one shed, if some of that material can be reused in building a gravel hut at another spot on that property or thereby, we could certainly consider doing that as well,
That sounds like a good option.
okay? Because this is material that would be already there.
Right.
Moving back,
All right.
moving back.
Maybe shrink it down, yeah.
So the road commissioner's report, again, I'm gonna see if we can get Archie more involved again in keeping us abreast, at least coming here and there and providing us with that insight. All right, moving forward, road supervisor, Mark?
Okay, this last few, we've had some warm weather occur, and due to the wind and the warmth, monitoring the roads, and on the days of warm temperature and non-freezing nights, we occurred a little bit of rutting action, and was able to go out and do some road work with the grader, and timed it at the time of freezing to just watching the weather, knowing that the temperatures were going back to a solid freeze for a week. I smoothed out every road in town that had major rutting, and at the time it froze into a flat surface to allow for smooth transition and better plowing through the night there, and then talking with Archie, the last load of salt had dwindled down due to the weather, and I called and ordered a 5th load of road salt for our winter, and quite pleased with the service. Within a couple of hours from my phone call, truck driver called to ask direction, and was here at 12 noon. Load of salt
Same day?
from Troy, New York. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
Going
they
to New
could-
York the same day?
Yeah, very nice.
That's a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah, and he said it was a nice ride over here.
Little
Sure.
little
Good
city
brakes on his
for
truck.
a
Yeah, it was great, yeah. So anyway, I just was very pleased with the promptness of our deliveries this winter. A lot of times when I call, I'm on hold for 15 minutes to a half an hour. It depends on I guess, how many calls they're getting. But that went well, and again, we went through another there was quite a bit of wind between our last meeting. I moved quite a few dead limbs, branches from the roads. Things froze back up, we had some snow, the plowing went well. And it appears like after this weekend, it looks like we're falling into more spring-like weather, and I'm sure there'll be some road softening, so I'm prepared to be able to go out and apply more stone where necessary and try to keep the roads flat and passable during our spring weather. I did, since our last meeting, put our road posted notices up so that and Guy was nice enough to file all of our gravelled roads with the state, and so that they can, if we have somebody abusing the roads, we can get somebody to come in here and watch for that abuse. And as I mentioned, we are up for the grant for the leaf blower and making arrangements to go and look at those in person. If anybody would like to go on that road trip, I can call. If not, no. I also had inquired on rental equipment for our summer months and still have heard nothing back from the company that I called, so I will make another phone call to see if I can get something for the next meeting. And I believe that's it,
Mark,
yes.
I think if you have some information, we should sit, when we sit down to talk with Archie and the paving project, let's get that set up too as well.
Okay,
So that needs to be followed up on through the paving, at least getting the bid out so that we have an idea.
FEMA related?
So, huh?
Is that FEMA related?
FEMA related, yes. Anything else, Mark?
I know that.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move a little bit, take communications, regular mail, I think we've already went through the regular mail. No unnecessary, email communications, we're ready to do our pay orders. I'd like to make a motion that we approve payroll warrant number 22-34 in the amount of $2,005.75. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Stan Noga. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving payroll warrant 22-34 in the amount of $2,005.75 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Hearing none, I shall sign it and move it down.
Something to say about the.
So when we have discussion, you can bring it up, okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the accounts payable warrant number 22-36 dated March 2nd, 2022 in the amount of $23,375.15. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Stan. Any discussion?
Yes,
Bruce?
I would like to see the check that's made out to me for $90, because I don't remember. There's something in there, in that AP one that's related to me. Keep on going, that's next to the code and code and stuff.
All
It's in
right,
the same line as the, whatever it is on the,
Third one down.
It's the third one over there.
I certainly don't wanna cause more problem.
It wasn't the.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember what,
Why should he have to change?
okay.
COVID.
Okay. Please
Not a
note
good
when you
sign.
see the accounts payable that we're still in discussion here, that there was check number 15,546 and 15,550 replaced or set in here to replace a check 15,537 to Mark Bills that was on a previous warrant that was voided, so.
The reason that was is that there was some things that Judy had put in all together, lumped in, and realized we had to break it out. Some went to ER trucking, some went to other things, so we voided that check and wrote this new check. That check was on the last, I'm sorry, that check was on the last warrant, 2233, and this is a new warrant, so.
Correct. So that's been rectified. All right, so I have a motion, a second, we were in discussion, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving accounts payable warrant 22-36 in the amount of $23,375.15, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And I'm gonna ask you to sign this. Trying to, and quickly here, setting the agenda for the next meeting on Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. We will open the request for proposal for the painting of the Brookline Meeting House steeple. We will have a discussion about the informational meeting select board members are having with Wyndham Regional, which is discussing the ARPA funding for the town. I will also put on the agenda any other appointments that need to be brought up to date. We will also have the request for proposal amended for the steeple repair and any other items that we deem important. All right, at this time, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting. May I have a second? Seconded by Bruce, any discussion? I'm only 6 minutes off. Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all very much for your participation tonight. Thank you, Peter. Meeting is
Thank you, Peter.
adjourned. It is 8:52.